Right people, here I am again at this time CMC in Cannock, and I'm with this beauty. Just make sure that's clean, as clean as it gets. Yeah, that's better with this beauty. The Yamaha MT10, and CMC have kindly loaned me this bike for a test ride, just to give you a look on it. And I'm going to be taking it out to kind of get a feel of the Supernaked. Last week I was on the Superduke, and this is it's a little bit high. Okay, nice soft clutch lever into first. Okay, with some okay. Initial impression is just kind of getting on it straight off the bat. I suppose I'm used to a little bit more now the position, riding position of the Supernaked bike, and let's head towards Rugeley. And it doesn't feel as alien as it did last week. And bearing in mind, this video is all about coming off a fully fared kind of sports touring bike in the form of a Hayabusa, and transitioning possibly across to a Supernaked and how that feels. So it doesn't feel as alien, and there's there's several things that you need to kind of factor into this. The first is the booster that I had. I'm going the right way, Rugeley. Yep. Firstly, the booster that I had was a 1300cc bike, so it's a big old unit, and anything that you get on after a 1300 is going to feel relatively small in terms of size. The Superduke was an exception to that in terms of the size of the engine, but not necessarily in terms of how it felt underneath you. Underneath you it still felt like a small bike, and to be honest with you, there doesn't seem much of a difference between the Superduke and the Yamaha in terms of how the bike feels between your legs. Oh, it's not as torquey. What gear was I in? Third. Trying to pull away in third. It wasn't as torquey, so it doesn't feel as smaller than the Superduke in terms of size, and you're kind of conscious that there is a smaller bike beneath you. So bearing in mind that the Superduke had an extra 300cc to play with, they've done really well in terms of hiding it and giving you that kind of feel that you're on a smallish bike. That's the right kind of assessment to make. And that's not a criticism. That's just saying that it feels, it handles like a small bike. It doesn't feel like a big old lump the way that the Busa does. That's between you. But the thing with the Busa is that once you're on it, the weight just disappears, and it feels no different, in all honesty, to the way that this feels now. This the Yamaha. And it's actually my first time on a Yamaha. My first time on a Yamaha Supernaked. It's my first time on a Yamaha Yamaha bike. Full stop. So, come on, lost with the rod with me. Just try and get through. So it's an interesting experience for me. Mind the gravel. But I tell you what, this throttle feels really loose. When I say loose, it's just like it's got so much, it just doesn't feel like there's any resistance on it. You just twist it and it will go. You know what, I do like this. I do like this. Compared to the KTM, in terms of riding position, it doesn't feel much different. You feel as though you're still at the front end of the bike. you know, and you're a lot more upright. The seat on this feels a lot more firm than it does compared to the Superduke, and the suspension feels a lot more stiff. But maybe that was just a setup thing in terms of the. Come on, let's get past it. Maybe that's just a setup thing in terms of how the settings are on the bike at the moment. But that's probably where the similarities end, to be honest with you. You know, it's so hello, is that fella? It is a stiff old bike. I think if I was to take this and use it on a regular kind of route, I'd want to make the suspension a little bit softer. As it is at the moment, it's a little bit tough. You can feel the bumps as you go over them. But in terms of how it feels, as you, I'm bearing in mind this is my first Yamaha, as you ride it, it feels a lot more put together than the, I think I'll go the wrong way actually, than the Duke was. The Duke felt a little bit clunky, it felt a little bit boxy, as though, you know, it's more of a, felt more like a go-kart in terms of how it was put together. It just didn't feel well made, and I kind of spent most of my time reflecting on it. It's been about a week since I rode it, and I thought, you know what, I did like it, I did have fun on it, but that's just it though. It's, you know, they're asking for 15 grand or 14 grand or whatever it is, and as I said in my last video, it wasn't a bike that wowed me. And you know, I was talking to a friend about this, and he goes, well, you know, you've got to perform the bike in order to get the best out of it. And I thought, yeah, maybe there's an argument for that, but if I'm spending £15,000, I want to get on a bike and think that, you know what, yeah, I really like that, that was a really good experience. Irrespective of whether I perform it, if I perform it, then the ride quality for me should be even better than what it initially is. That's adding value, and in my book, it's not about, you know, selling it to me. I shouldn't have to perform the bike, ride it like I stole it, whatever it may be, in order to make me want it. You know, making me want it should just be from the fact that, right, you know what, I've spent time with it, I like it, I like the way it rides, I like the way it feels, I like the comfort, I like the power, I like the way that it you know, it kind of pulls, I like the torque on it, I like all of that kind of stuff. Gee, all this, it goes, and I like that it feels robust and sturdy, and I just didn't get that from the Duke. You know, it was nice, the power, it didn't feel anywhere near as torquey as this. This is incidentally the SP version. It didn't feel anywhere near as torquey as this. This feels more like, and I know I'm going to swing the lantern again, this feels more like the Hayabusa in terms of, you know, what it's got. It is really, really nice, I really like it, and it feels a lot more solid as well in terms of having a that's it. It feels a lot more solid in terms of having a stable presence. It doesn't feel as though it's gonna fall apart on you. Now, the Duke didn't feel like that either. It didn't feel like it was gonna fall apart on me. And bear in mind, KTM have a history of all these kind of off-roading bikes, but it just felt a little bit hollow for me. It felt a little bit tinny, whereas the MT10 doesn't. Just being on it, you know, it's that kind of the burble from the engine and the exhaust system, that whole kind of you know, Japanese refinement. It feels really, really good. It feels really good, and it's so bloody nimble as well. You know, you can kind of throw it around, and take a little bit of getting used to, but it feels really, really good. I'm really enjoying it at the moment. The chap at the dealership, God bless him, he filled up the tank for me as well, old school, and I like that. You know, the guy's nice, man. He's comes in, spends a little bit of time doing what he wants to do. He's not you know, he's not a kind of hardcore salesman. He understands that people want to kind of take the time, understand what's what, and then make a decision on the back of that. He goes, "You got about an hour, mate. told me which routes were good, and let me get on with it. One things I will say is, and bearing in mind that this is just, I've been on it for about all of 15 minutes, is that it feels like there's too much happening in this space here. So if I look down there, you know, towards a cluster, I've got the cruise control there, which is great. I've got something there, whatever that is. I've got mode selection there. I can toggle my menu from that side. But if I just want to get to the indicator, I've got to, without, you know, just knowing the bike particularly well at the moment, I've got to make sure that I've actually got the indicator and not hitting the lights or the menu or the cruise control or the horn or whatever bloody else there is to hit on that side. I think that, you know, they've got space, or they maybe could have put it a little bit higher or adjusted it or whatever. But that's the only criticism at the moment in terms of how the bike feels and rides. Other than that, you know what, I'm really liking this. This possibly could be a contender. The only consideration with the MT10, and I said this on the other video, was around its looks. And I know some people have kind of got that love it and hate it design, or love it or hate it kind of Marmite. I do like it. Oh, jeez Louise, I do like it. But with liking it, it comes at a cost of future-proofing, for argument's sake. So you could buy a bike in 2019, hold on to it for like 3 or 4 years, and it will still look relevant in 2022, 2023. With this design, I don't know whether or not it will. You know, it's for the here, it's for the now, and you know, I generally get bored of bikes after about 12 months. But if I'm spending, you know, about 10 grand, I probably want to hold on to it for a little bit longer than 12 months. So 2 years, 3 years, how does it fare in those 2 or 3 years? You know, that's a consideration. You know, will it look outdated? Will it look old? Will it look a little bit strange in 2022, 2023? And that's something just to be mindful of. Okay, jeez, Louise, that is... Oh, it's got some torque, this has. Okay. Let's see what's what. Gear on my third. Okay, so that is great. So that's just a kind of thought. You know, how would it fare in 4 or 5 years' time? The other thing as well is around maintenance. Now, I'm a little stickler for kind of making sure that my bikes are clean, they're tidy, and all of that kind of stuff. And the Hayabusa and all the other bikes that I've had have been kind of fully fed bikes. So when I've taken it out for a TAS, I've been able to get them clean in time, get all the mud marks off. Marks off, and make sure that, you know, they're not encrusted on. And I've used whatever there is to do that, bug spray, various different bits and bobs. I do like this. I do like this. But with the MT10, you've got so many little crevices, you've got so many little different pieces of grille and little holes and gaps and nookie holes, that it's difficult, if not near impossible, to make sure that if you have a ride like this in an area like this, that you can get all of those bits and bobs out. Brakes, solid, feel much better than the Dukes do. Dukes, as I mentioned, were a little bit spongy. Now I'm not sure if that was just that particular bike, but they don't feel as anywhere near as planted or as solid as this. And in terms of the kind of wind resistance, there's a little bit of a protective, whatever the hell that is, call it a screen. It's just to protect the instrument cluster from various different blocks and bits. The wind resistance it, then you're going to have to hold on for dear life, because you might find with the torque that this thing's got, you'll end up on your arse. Usually steady on there, chap. You'll end up on your arse if you don't hold on. Oh, that could be a dog shit. Couldn't do that, man. That's why I haven't got a dog. Can't walk around with the knowledge that I have to pick up dog poo. Mirrors, can't get them right. Alright, I suppose, but not the best. It is a stiff ride. I don't know whether or not that can be adjusted at the moment on the setting that it's on. I'm sure you can adjust it, make it a little bit softer, whether it's the preload, the forks, or the kind of adjustment at the back. A little bit stiff. But at the moment, you know what, I'm really liking this. I think if I had to choose between the Duke and the MT10, it would be the MT10, hands down. Hands down. It feels as though I mean the handlebars are nice wide length. It feels as though I'm just perched just about right. I'm just leaning a little bit forward. Just kissing the handlebars, as you could say. It feels really nice, it feels comfortable. The seat doesn't feel the greatest, doesn't feel like you could do too many miles in this saddle. Yeah, so anyway, so I was saying, the riding position feels quite nice, feels comfortable. You know, you're not perched at the front camera. It doesn't feel as though you're, you know, you're loaded up at the front. I think if you had the right saddle, you could quite comfortably take this on a mission. You are, stay where you are. Thank you. Got an itchy nose. Don't know if anybody else has that problem, but whenever I'm riding my bike, I get a bloody itchy nose. Anyway, you know what? Thousands are doing it. The big lumps that are the 1300s on the gravel. The big lumps that are the 1300s and 1400s. I think maybe the days, for me anyway, are over. I do like the thought of having that VHP, having that big engine. I do like the idea that I've got this massive power plant sitting underneath, but the way that this thing is shifting people, goodness me, it's bloody ridiculous, Billy. It just gathers speed. Ooh, what's that? It gathers speed from nowhere. And it hits the limiter so flipping quick. But it just kind of redlining before you realise it, and you've not even twisted the throttle full tilt. So there's so much more that it can give, and I mean this bike far exceeds my ability to ride it the way that it should be ridden, to perform it the way that it should be performed. But even with the way that it is at the moment, it is just monstrous. This is the kind of bike that, you know, you can pot around quite comfortably, but when you want to have fun, it can do that in bucket loads as well, mate. It's the wife and the mistress rolled in one. That's what it is. I do like it. I really like this. Now, I do like the look of the R90. I do like the idea of this whole kind of, you know, gentleman era, kind of retro classic look thing going on. You know, go to a coffee shop and pull up and have a coffee and smoke your cigar and all that nonsense. I do like the idea of that. But I don't know whether or not that's for me just yet, because this is convincing me otherwise. This is fun, man. It's a whole lot of fun. It's a whole lot of naughty, but it's also or can be a whole lot of sensible. Incidentally now, I'll put it in neutral so I can get both feet on the floor just to see how it fares. I'm 5'8", and I'm on the balls of my feet, so it's no different to the Duke in terms of height. I don't know what the stats are, maybe one of you geeky brothers and sisters could tell me what the height is from the ground and all that kind of nonsense. But I'm 5'8" and I'm on the balls of my feet if I need to put both of my feet down, which I don't do because I always adopt the safety position and have my foot on the rear brake whenever I'm stationary. But yeah, so there is that consideration. Maybe somebody who's a little bit smaller would struggle with it unless you can adjust the height somehow. Maybe you can, I don't know. But let's try and just remain sensible and potter on the bike. It is flipping heck, it is. Oh, Jesus Christ. Why are there so many bumps in the road for? Bloody hell. Me Jules. It is a stiff ride at the moment. And if this is as comfortable as it gets, and I don't know if it is, if this is as comfortable as it gets, it could start getting on your nerves after a while, because you want something that isn't going to bust your balls all the time. A460 is where we want to go, people. You want something that isn't going to bust your balls all the time. You want something that will allow you to go home and still bloody reproduce should the need arise to. And at the moment, the way that this is set up, it's saying no more kids. So, shoulder check. Go on, chap. Bloody hell, that kid needs to be on a bike, mate. Right. So you see, I mean, I'm kind of pottering around town now, and it's toasty. You know, it's comfortable. It's easy. You know, it's nice. I'm kind of having a little bimble, and I'm enjoying my bimble. But then, if you decide to go from bimble to madness, just check this. No, it just does that. It just, you know, the torque is ridiculous. Oh, not the torque, sorry, the way that it gathers speed. Make sure I don't get tickets. I'm not a fan of tickets. I'm not a fan of points. I'm not a fan of high insurance premiums. But yeah, so fuzz. The way that it kind of gathers speed is scandalous, and there's a lot to be said about it. I think it's stock at the moment, as in standard. I don't know if it's got any kind of aftermarket bits and bobs on it. I think the exhaust is as it is, and you know what I mean. The exhaust is as it is, as it came out of the factory. Let's see if I can pull over here and do a bit of a walk around on the bike. Let me find the foot peg feels a little bit flimsy. It's not keyless like the Duke was. This is actually a keyed bike. So that's how she looks. MT10. Excuse me. And just making sure that I am actually recording. I haven't been talking to myself for the past half an hour. And let's have a kind of look around her. You know, this is what I was talking about. So you're going to go tazzing around the country lanes or wherever you're going to go to do whatever it is that you want to do. These parts here, you know, I can see a whole heap of bugs and insects getting caught in them. There's already something there. I think it looks like a leaf getting caught in them. Trying to clean them out. Maybe, you know, in here, that kind of stuff. Trying to clean them out is going to be an absolute ball ache if those kind of things bother you. If they don't bother you, then you're alright. It's not an issue. But for me, if it does, then it is a bit of an issue, because I like to keep my bikes clean and tidy, and you know, those kind of things really annoy me. Oh, it's got the Akrapovic, if that's how you pronounce it, can on it. I do like that swing arm. Looks aluminium, it's tasty. And you know, it could possibly do with some protection here that you'd need. You've got like a little bit of a grill here, but you quite comfortably, a stone would go through that, and it'd be certainly advisable to get a guard for the radiator. You know, on the front wheel, throwing something up or something, just hitting it and popping your radiator, and that's it. Game over, mate. That's going to be a good few £100 spent. It's got the sliders on it, Olin shocks, and Olin adjustable rear suspension, rear foot pegs. What the hell? Right. I think they're probably saying that, you know what, we've put them on there for the sake of putting them on there, but really, you're not going to be putting any passenger on the back of that. You know, it's just one of them things, isn't it? So, that's it. I like the seat there. That's nice, because when you tank it, your arse slides back. 2019 CMC. Good stuff, good stuff. Right, let's get back on it. Currently enjoying the ride. The digital display, full colour. Bearing in mind this is the SP model, you don't need to pull the clutch in. That's not got anything to do with the SP, you just don't need to pull the clutch in. What I do like about this though is that you just need to give the kickstand just a bit of a nudge and it's gone. You don't have to kick it back all the way. It does feel a little bit flimsy in terms of finding it. It doesn't feel as strong as the bigger bikes, but maybe that's just how they are. I like this, and this is true with a lot of the naked bikes as well. You've got so much room to put things on. You know, you can put put your charging port on there for your phone or your sat nav. You can put your sat nav on there as well as your phone. You know, you've got so much room to do those kind of things. It is good fun. I really do like it. I think the only kind of observation is going to be around the seat. Is a little stiff, and the suspension. I don't know whether or not you've got the riding modes to adjust the suspension. You know what, you do have to hold on really tight, because if you don't, it will throw you off. Come on, pal, national speed limit, lad. This my little blind spot mirrors as well. It doesn't feel as much feedback through the foot pegs when you go from, you know, like a higher gear and tank it as there was on the Superduke. The Duke was there, you know, if you tank it and you twist the throttle from like third or fourth, you can feel it, vibration through the foot pegs. This has got some vibration, but it doesn't seem as much as the Duke had. I mean, considering that this is my first time on a Yamaha and it's my second time on a Supernaked, I don't really have any affinity to Yamaha over the Superduke or KTM, but I am preferring this MT10 much more than I am the Superduke. It's just easy to ride. It feels solid underneath you, you know, and it's comfortable. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Fox. It's comfortable in terms of riding position. That I know that the what's it called is a little bit stiff. I think that, you know, if you're doing the kind of twisties in the Pyrenees or Italy, then you'll be ideal, because you can chuck it around, and that's something that is on the menu for us guys. That's what we want to do. So I mean, this kind of setup would be ideal possibly for that. But if you just want to pot around, then maybe, well no, maybe it is too stiff, because normal road riding, kind of roads that you're going to come across with bumps and potholes and all that kind of nonsense, you'd get kind of hacked off fairly quickly. But other than that, man, this is a really enjoyable bike. It's really enjoyable. I mean, you know, it's a serious contender. The way that it rides, the way that it feels, the kind of the fun factor that you get from it. And it's not something that's just, you know what, a gimmick in terms of, yeah, actually, you know what, I like that because or you know, like I was saying earlier, I like it because I can perform it, and when I perform it, it makes me feel good, even though that is a factor of riding. But this is the kind of bike that you just enjoy even at low speeds. You know, you kind of, you twist the throttle and you've got that kind of so you've got that power there, instant power there, but equally, you know, you can just have a quite nice little bimble on a Sunday to get to wherever you want to get to, do whatever you want to do, and happy days. You know, my legs don't feel cramped up at all. I think if I had the right seat on this, I can quite comfortably do a good few hours in the saddle. It's got that nice burble from the exhaust. Feels nice. The throttle's got a little bit of play in it, and it just feels that possibly it could have a little bit more resistance, especially when you've got so much power at the throttle that's coming through it. Alright people, the Yamaha MT10. It's an awesome machine. The way that it delivers the power is obviously dependent on your wrist, but you know, if you give it the beans, it's gonna lift its stress and run, mate. But equally, just like I've done there, you can pull off quite comfortably and have a sensible ride on it as well. And that is also important as well. You know, you don't always want to get on your bike and, you know, ride for your life, but sometimes you want to just kind of enjoy the roads that you are on. You know, you want to be able to throw your bike around, yeah, I get that. But equally, you know, you want to be able to see where it's going. But equally, you also want to be able to enjoy the countryside. If you go riding through places like France and Spain, Italy, you know, you don't want to miss all that amazing scenery. So sometimes what you want to do is just take it easy. And all the temptations there not to, but this does. It gives you the opportunity to do that. You can take it easy, which is why I think if the throttle was a little bit stiffer on this, and maybe you can kind of adjust that, but if the throttle was a little bit stiffer on this, it'll probably force you a little bit more to twist it in order to kind of get the outcome that you want, as opposed to it being so easy. Or maybe if you got used to the bike, you know, that would change. Another observation is that there does seem to be quite a bit of heat. Oh, Jesus Christ. Gotta do something about that suspension. Quite a bit of heat coming from the engine. And on a day like this, when it's mild, it's not too bad. But if you're riding in 30 plus weather, as most of Europe is, then you're going to feel that heat. The owl's going to feed it, or they're going to have roast nuts or sweaty nuts, I think, for sure. But roast nuts even possibly. Okay people, so there's nothing more I can add to this, I think, to be honest with you. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great fun. And it's been, for me, more than just a novelty experience on a Supernaked. This is really good. You know, it's solid bike, feels solid, stable, grounded underneath you. You can have bags of fun with it. You can potter around. Oh, fuzz. You twist the throttle and it just, you know, wants to rip your head off. And if that's your kind of thing, then this is your kind of bike. A couple of the considerations that were mentioned earlier, I need to repeat them, but if you can live with that, and obviously checking the adjustments to make sure that this isn't the softest setting that this on at the moment, because if it is, bloody hell mate, I think you get sick of it really quick, and you want something a lot more comfortable, just so you can do the distance on it, if you want to do the distance. And I'm going to log off now, I'm going to sign out, I'm going to give you a good old adios, so I can stick my sat nav on and find out how the bloody hell to get back to CMC.